Her lover slapped me in front of my family. The first call came at 6:13 a.m., a vibration on the wooden nightstand. A name I hadn't thought about in hours. A name I no longer recognized, Maya. I watched the screen light up, fade out, then light up again, as if the phone itself was desperate, as if the truth was trying to claw its way back into my life. I didn't answer, not after last night, not after watching her walk away, head high, spine unbroken, like she wasn't leaving our 4 years behind, like she wasn't leaving me bleeding, emotionally, humiliated, and silent, in front of my own family. I can still feel the echo of her lover's hand across my jaw, the heat, the sting, the shame. I remember how she didn't say a word, didn't defend me, didn't look at me. She just turned around and left with him. And I stood there, surrounded by the people who had believed in us. My mother, my father, my sister. Their eyes on me, waiting for me to react, waiting for something inside me to break. But nothing broke, not outwardly. Inside, everything was rearranging itself into something colder, sharper, quieter. Now, the phone vibrated again. Call 8. Then, #9. I stared at it, wondering what panic sounds like on the other side of a line I refused to pick up. I didn't know it yet, but before the sun would set, those calls would reach 113, and by then, she would finally understand what silence feels like. The betrayal didn't start last night. It started long before, quietly, softly, like a thread pulled from a fabric, invisible until the whole pattern distorts. The first sign came weeks ago, a sudden new password on her phone. "It's just privacy," she'd said, her tone too casual, her eyes too bright. I wanted to believe her. People in love always want to believe. We cling to trust the way drowning men cling to driftwood. Then came the late-night messages, the sudden need for space, the way she started dressing differently, speaking differently, breathing differently. I noticed. Of course I noticed. I notice everything. But I kept quiet. Silence is a powerful investigator. It lets people reveal themselves. And Maya, she revealed things without meaning to. The slip of a name she'd never mentioned. The red mark on her neck she blamed on a mosquito. The nights she came home smelling like a perfume that wasn't hers. I kept collecting these moments, small pieces of a truth I didn't want to face. But the real confirmation came yesterday. My sister's engagement dinner, a night when families gather, laugh, celebrate. Maya was unusually restless. She kept checking her phone, smiling at messages she pretended didn't exist. Then she excused herself. 5 minutes passed. 10, 15. I went outside, and there they were, her and him. His hand on her waist, her mouth close to his ear. When they saw me, she froze. He didn't. He walked up to me, bold, confident, careless, and slapped me. In front of everyone. A moment that should have shattered me. Instead, it clarified everything. She didn't defend me, didn't deny anything, didn't even apologize. She walked away with him, just like that. And something inside me finally stopped waiting for her. After last night, I didn't sleep, I didn't cry, I didn't rage. I simply shifted into someone who no longer needed explanations. I started with her phone records. I had access through our shared account, a decision she'd forgotten, a mistake she never expected would matter. I reviewed every call, every message, every late-night whisper she thought was hidden in darkness. 2 months. 2 months of secret conversations, deleted photos, midnight meetings. I traced his number, a coworker, a man she once claimed she barely knew. I remembered their first introduction at a company dinner, his laugh too eager, her smile too soft. Red flags I folded into pretty excuses. Now they unfolded themselves, one by one, sharp enough to cut. I checked her location history, places she never told me she visited, hotels I'd never been inside, timings that matched nights she said she was working late. I sat there in the dark, the glow of the screen illuminating the truth she'd buried. And the irony? No part of me wanted revenge. Not then, not yet. I only wanted clarity, to understand the shape of the lie I'd lived in. But the more I uncovered, the calmer I became. Calm like the moment before an executioner lowers the blade. By sunrise, I had everything I needed. Screenshots, records, dates, locations, proof. I wasn't planning to confront her. Confrontation requires emotion, and mine had already bled out last night. All that remained was calculation. At 6:13 a.m., she began calling. I didn't answer. Not when she called 12 times. Not when she texted a paragraph of apologies. Not when she said, "We need to talk." Not when she wrote, "Please, please pick up." Her words meant nothing now. I was studying the truth, measuring it, understanding it. I wanted her to feel the silence she had left me in. I wanted her to sit with the consequences. I wanted her to realize that when trust dies, it doesn't scream, it just stops breathing. She showed up at my door at 11:42 a.m., eyes swollen, hair messy, voice trembling. Not the confident, glowing woman who had walked away with him last night. This version looked deflated, as if the weight of her choices had finally settled on her. "I need to explain," she whispered. I didn't move, didn't open the door wide, didn't soften. I simply handed her an envelope. She opened it with shaking fingers. Inside were the call logs, the hotel receipts, the photos, everything. Her knees weakened. I watched her body sway like a structure losing its foundation. She stuttered. She tried to form excuses. Her lips trembled around half-formed sentences that meant nothing. "Why didn't you tell me you knew?" she whispered. "Why would I?" My voice was calm, too calm. Her breath caught. Maybe she expected yelling, begging, negotiation. But silence is crueler. It forces people to hear themselves. She clutched the papers to her chest as if holding the evidence would somehow erase it. "I made a mistake," she cried. "No," I replied softly. "You made a decision." Her tears fell harder. She reached for my hand. I stepped back. That small movement cut deeper than any shouted insult. She realized then, really realized, that something inside me had changed permanently. "You still love me, right?" she whispered, as if love was a bandage she could place over a bullet wound. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. The truth sat between us, heavy and undeniable. And for the first time, she understood how silence can destroy. Revenge doesn't always look like destruction. Sometimes it looks like clarity. Sometimes it looks like letting someone drown in the consequences of their own choices. She followed me into the living room, her steps frantic, her voice breaking. "Say something," she pleaded. I sat down, opened my laptop, turned the screen toward her. A video played. The restaurant parking lot from last night. CCTV footage. Her and him. His hand on her waist. Her leaning in. Then the moment he slapped me. The angle was perfect. The sound captured. The expressions clear. Her face paled. "I got the footage 30 minutes ago," I said. "Your lover sent it to 3 people already." Her mouth fell open. "He bragged," I explained. "He's proud of what he did." That broke her. She collapsed onto the floor, hands over her face, sobbing in a way I hadn't heard before. I watched her quietly, studying the moment her fantasy shattered. "You left with him," I said softly, "a man who humiliates others for fun. And you expected me to fight for you?" She crawled closer, grabbing my wrist. "I was stupid. I was angry. I was confused. Please, please don't leave me." But it wasn't about leaving. It was about finally seeing her without the illusions I'd wrapped around her. "You didn't choose me last night," I said. "You don't get to choose me today." Her sobbing intensified. She begged, she apologized, she reached for me again, and I stepped back again. That was the real revenge. Not a scream, not a threat, not violence, just refusal. Calm, final, undeniable. The kind of rejection that echoes. She left my house slowly, like each step was a punishment. Her phone buzzed in her hand. Messages from the same man she'd thrown everything away for. She didn't reply. She couldn't. The truth had finally stripped her clean. When the door closed behind her, I exhaled for the first time in hours. Not relief, not victory, just release. I sat alone in the quiet, listening to the stillness settle. No love, no hate, just clarity. Around 8 p.m. my phone buzzed again. Missed call 113, and then a final message. "I ruined everything. Please, just one chance." I didn't respond. Not out of cruelty, but because I finally understood something essential. Some betrayals don't require punishment. They punish themselves. I placed the phone face down, walked to the window, watched the sky darken. I wasn't broken. I wasn't angry. I was free. And she was only just beginning to understand what loss feels like. My final thought before I closed the curtains: silence isn't revenge. It's closure.
How could you do this?